Hello, my name is David Benheim. Welcome to the Nerd Night Nerd Lab video. So we're very lucky to have you as a speaker. We have 4 to 6 speakers roughly every 2 weeks. And we're going to go through some tips and tricks for your Nerd Night presentation. So the perfect slide should have, we believe, between 3 and 15 words per slide. Try not to have more than 15 words because then the audience takes longer to absorb it. And with 20 seconds, it just goes by too fast. Also, don't have too few because otherwise, unless you're very well rehearsed, the speaker can forget what to say. Try to go for images and anywhere between 1 to 3, not more than 3, and a minimum font size of 30 as well. Because otherwise, people in the back of the room might not be able to see, and what's the point in taking the risk? All right, so we're going to cover 6 sections. Going to start with how to find images, how many objects per slide, slide surgery tips, simplifying images, and then full screen images and event specifics. So let's kick off with finding images. There is a cat who doesn't want you to. All right. So avoid using stock photos. Stock photos have anything like these watermarks behind them, or even these kind of faded images or patterns in there. If you put that up on a slide, people will eventually and quickly realize that you're using this when you shouldn't be using it. Now here we are in Google. We've just searched for elephant, and most people know that you can go to images to get, well, images of an elephant. But most people have never clicked on the tools button here. This is really, really great, and I highly advise using this whenever you use Google Images. You have a few things that I'll show you. You have filters. So filter for sizes large. Highly recommended when you are using PowerPoint. If you click on it, it will give you high resolution images. This is over 2000 pixels by 1400. The fastest way to get this into PowerPoint, right click on the image, press copy image, go back into PowerPoint and paste it like that. Or also, if you want to have a transparent image, go to color and choose transparent. So here we have the transparent checkerboard symbol behind it. Now if I copy this and I paste it here, I can see that this has a transparent background, which means whatever color background slides you have, this is still very, very beautiful. However, I love a mixture of both. I love these full screen images that I think look really good on a full slide, and I also really like these kind of transparent ones to go in the middle of your slide. If you have the newest version of PowerPoint, then there's some really cool built-in stock images. Let me show you this. I love this. In the Insert tab, you have pictures and stock images. And this is great. This is just premium content that Microsoft have paid for and include in the license of PowerPoint. So you can search for example, elephant, and get these really high definition images like this one. Just brings them in super fast and you can just do whatever you want there. Let's go back to my slides and the next one, objects per slide. So you should always have a maximum of 6 objects per slide. There's been a lot of scientific research for this to prove this, and there's often a game that I play when I'm presenting this live that gets people to realize exactly why. I'll link to a video that explains that game as well, which is a really good one on Death by PowerPoint, a TED Talk. But have a maximum of 6 objects per slide, otherwise your audience will not absorb it as fast. Now, what does an object mean? A slide title is an object, any 2 to 3 word phrase. An image, a picture is an object, and a picture caption is another object. So in this example, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 objects here. So one image can even be more than one object, so to speak, if it's very complex. For example, this image clearly has a lot of things going on. These are clearly 4 images in one. And here are some other examples there. So be wary of what is meant by an image. It's best with an icon that I'll explain a bit later on. So these things are icons. These are very clear images, but they are vector graphics in graphic design terms. And that means that you can click on it and you can completely change the color, the outline, etc., because PowerPoint treats it like a shape. Now, how do you get these? If you have the newest version of PowerPoint, you can go to Insert Icons, and you do get this preset of tons of different icons you can choose from. So you could either browse through these categories, or you could search for what you want. For example, animal, and then get all of these animals. There's either the fill theme or just the outline as well. If you have an older version, but you still want access to this, you can go to the Nerd Night website, go to the presenters page, and right at the bottom, you have the WowerPoint recipe book. You can download the file and then open it on your computer, and you can use the things here in your Nerd Night presentation, but also in anything else, in any future presentation. So here are a sample of some that you can choose. And as I said before, they have shape format options. So just kind of take a couple of these, copy them, paste them into your incumbent presentation, and then just change anything to suit your needs. I find that these kind of icons are a great way to give you a consistent scheme across your slides. Also really good for representing data. Instead of using big kind of charts, you could also just say that this is more female than male customers, or this one means females are more prominent than males just by relative size. Repetition and relative size in icons make infographics really, really useful. Or another way that I love to show numbers, and graphic designers use this all the time, just make a big number, well, small text, such that the text starts where the number starts and it ends where the number ends. So I should make this a little bit smaller to make that perfect. There we go. And this just means that it's in line, and it's a trick that is really, really effective of getting a very specific number across. Some other advice, as I mentioned before, try not to have more than 15 words per slide and a minimum font size of 30. So what does that mean? That means that an object like a slide like this, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 objects, is good. And a slide like this, which is a full screen image with a little bit of text on the side, is fantastic. I'll show you tricks for how to make these in a little bit as well, but avoid these. This is quite clearly 7 objects, and this is a traditional boardroom kind of presentation with just loads of text and inexcusable number of words in a slide. The scientific reason behind this is that as humans, we have had to evolve and be able to very quickly identify the predators around us. So we've developed this part of our memory called the iconic memory, which is able to very, very quickly, instantaneously, just pick up, look around, and see a very small number of objects to stop ourselves getting killed by predators. This right here is an example of a beautiful full screen image with some text on the side, made so that the color of the text just matches some prominent part of the image. All right, so a couple more things. Slide surgery here. There's some slides. Wow, that looks pretty awesome. So a couple of slide surgery tips as we go along. So here we have some objects and we want to align them. Most people know that you can drag these and get these red lines, but that's not really a great option. What's better instead is to select the objects. If you want to select multiple, you can drag over this and make sure you select all of them there. Then go to the Arrange button, Align, and choose Align Top, and they jump up to be the same level. Then choose Arrange, Align, and Distribute horizontally to get them with equal spacing between there. I'm going to do that again here. So when you use this kind of selection tool, make sure you select entirely the object. So the blue object here is not going to be selected because it's only partially done, but all the frogs, they will be selected like that. So I'm going to go there and I'm going to choose in picture format. You get the same ones, align and align right. And now align and distribute vertically for that to get the equal spacing between. So make sure you select your anchors, the first and the last image. This can be done with more than 3 as well. Just 3 is a good way to demo it. Couple more tools. So do not extend the side handles. I see this done way too many times. It makes objects look silly. And I often have to fix these as I give advice to people who are preparing slides. So to fix images, click on them, choose picture format and choose reset and reset picture and size. And that will make it perfect, but it will just ensure that the dimensions are the right way. So click here, reset, reset picture and size, and then resize as you like. So that's for images, but what about for shapes? So if I want to make this a perfect circle, click inside it, go to shape format, and take this one and copy it, and then here, paste it from height into width. This line, what about if you want to make this definitely a straight line? Go to the height, and the height of a straight line is 0. The width of a vertical line is 0. Everything's better with shift. So if you do have an image or a shape like this and you want to keep the dimensions, then sometimes it has the aspect ratio locked, but sometimes it doesn't. So to avoid this happening, hold down shift and it will always resize proportionately and keep the aspect ratio. Same with a shape, hold down shift and that will resize it like that. Without shift, it looks like this. So shift will always keep it proportionate there. This is also really great if you want to draw objects, hold down shift. So if you want a rectangle to be a perfect square, hold down shift and it makes it always expand as needed. Equally, if you want a line to be perfectly horizontal or perfectly vertical, this is without shift, this is with shift. Notice how far my cursor is from the midpoint, but it still makes it work and makes it vertical. All right, some more quick fire tips. Simplify images. So this is how a screenshot looks, but I want to get it much simpler, something like this. The issue is that if you have a complex one, and it could be a screenshot or an image, then it really doesn't allow the user to focus on a specific part. This works particularly well with screenshots, but also with a lot of other diagrams and other images. So how do we make this work? I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to draw a rectangle here. Right click and choose fill color, and then click on eyedropper. What eyedropper does is it allows you to pick the color of something else. So I can click there and it takes that exact color. Then I go to shape outline, no outline, and it's as if that part of the image didn't exist. Now from here I can copy and paste the same image over different parts of the picture. All right, and that eyedropper is a great tool that we're going to see again. So many people don't know it exists, and it's just fantastic for PowerPoint. Full screen images. Things to avoid with images and selfies. So here is a full screen image that looks really good, but the text is not particularly easy to read, especially when you've got a projector and low light, because this is a very, very highly pixelated screen, but that's not the same as a projector. Do you see that? Do you see that difference now that makes it a lot easier to read? Let's show you that again. So here is something that's really difficult to read, but do this adjustment and it makes it a lot better. Now, what I've done is I've used an object that is in the WowerPoint recipe book that we downloaded earlier and put that sort of in the image between the text and the image itself. So I'm going to do that for you. So I'm going to go back to, let's say, this image, and I'm going to go to the recipe book here. Right here, I have a black one and a white one. Now choose the color that's appropriate. So in that case, I'm going to choose the right one. So I'm going to just copy this one from here. Then I'm going to paste it there. It does appear on this side. So now if I take this text and I go to bring to front, I can put this on the side and it can show over there. Now, what about if we want it to be on the other side? So all I need to do is kind of drag this. Remember from the last tip, drag and hold shift so it doesn't move. And then I'm just going to go to rotate and flip horizontal. Rotate is in shape format there. Still hold shift, and there you go. It is perfect now. Fantastic, isn't it? So if you really want to know how to make these shapes, then I have another video that I'll link to as well to do it. But I highly advise you to just reuse mine, because for as long as I've used these, which is for about 4 years, I haven't bothered rebuilding them. I just copy and paste them. It takes too long to rebuild them. So that's how to make text legible over an image, but let's go a little bit further. Isn't this a really beautiful one where you've got this frog popping out and you've got text color that's similar to it, that's just making everything pop? But it's not always that easy to do this. And let me show you how to make it possible. Now, how can we get this image to be a full screen image? Now, if I extend it, you can see that it doesn't go to the end, and we already know to not do this. That distorts our image. Never do that. Instead, I'm going to click on the image, going to go to picture format, and then you have crop, and then aspect ratio and 16:9. This is fantastic. I wish it wasn't 3 clicks deep. Click on there, and then you can just click outside, and it's cropped it to the exact dimensions of your slide. Hold down shift as you expand, and it makes it full screen there. Now, just to go one step further, what if you want not the exact preset parts of the picture? So let's say I want to get more of the leaf and the fingers. I can drag it like that as I please. Now, again, highly advise using shift, because if you do this, you've lost your aspect ratio. If you hold shift, it always keeps it in line. There we go. There's a good one. Click outside, and now you've got a different version of the image, but it still works perfectly there. Now to go full, I'm going to take this one. I'm going to copy it, paste it there. Go for the non-busy side of the image. And then I'm going to create a text box on top of it. Going to write on here with white color. And then make that a bit bigger, whatever it is you want. Now, if it's a black one, try and choose a light color, like white is a good one to go with. But I'm going to go a step further and pick up the color from an image. Now, this is a technique I showed you very, very recently, but you can select your text, go to text color, and again, choose this eyedropper method, and then just go to a part of your image that has the color that you want. Let's go there. So it's light color. That looks really, really good. And it just shows that it's a kind of prominent color in my image over there. So that's it. Those are the 3 steps. Firstly, crop to aspect ratio, then add this gradient shape, and finally take the color from somewhere else. All right, now going into event specifics. So we are a host. Do not do that to us. Now, the event structure of Nerd Night is we start promptly at 8:01. Then the host will do an introduction of what the night is. explaining how the slides work and the format of the night. Then there'll be 2 to 3 speakers, then a break, then 2 to 3 more speakers, and then a group photo at the end. So the nerd team's responsibilities: we will take photos during the night. We will also give drinks vouchers, and we can do last minute slide checks or discussions if you want. Please come not later than 7:30 on the night to make sure everything is just working okay. When you speak, oh, sorry, that's embarrassing. That shouldn't be there. Sorry. Oh, here we go. The host will start with an intro and introduce you, and then you do your 20 slides, and then there'll be a 3 to 5 minute Q&A. Avoid things like that happening. Please run through a checklist and do practice before your talk. There is a checklist included in the WowerPoint recipe book as well. Over here, you have a before presenting checklist. Please just have a quick look. There's things like spell checks, run through the slideshow view and make sure it's working okay, etc., etc. All right, so we do recommend practice twice and use the timings when you practice, because it's so different when you have the timings versus when you don't. As the slides are only 6 minutes and 40 seconds, that's less than 15 minutes of your entire life. Things not to say. The slides are moving fast. Sorry about that. I finished what I need to say on this slide. When is the next one coming along? Your audience is not going to realize these things if you don't say them yourself. But if you say them, the audience acknowledges it. Other things that I often hear are, sorry, that shouldn't be there. That picture was supposed to be on the middle, not on the right, or I deleted it from a previous version of the slides. Mistakes happen, and on stage is not the time to apologize for them. Don't say that shouldn't be there, just go with it. And finally, this one, don't plug anything. We have strict rules about Nerd Night that say if you do want to promote something, you're only allowed to do that on one slide. So please do listen to the rules. Otherwise, your audience will think that this is just a promotional talk, and they will be very unforgiving of speakers who do that. Sound travels forward out of your mouth. It doesn't travel down. So if you hold it facing you, like this one, that will be the best way to capture your sound. If you hold it like this one as well, what we tend to notice is that people get under pressure, so the microphone tends to fall down and down and down and down during the course of the night. Finally, how far to have it from your face? Between 2 and 5 fingers between the microphone and your mouth. That's what's recommended by the experts. Don't include videos or transitions or animations. Chances are you're not listening to me over this slide and you're just watching these things happen. However redundant they might be, it's just really, really distracting for your audience. GIFs are okay, but try to avoid animations and transitions here, particularly with the slide timings. Anything in these 2 tabs tends to be very, very difficult to manage. So try and avoid it. And videos as well, particularly videos with sound, just completely avoid them. If you really want to have some looping videos, or if you want to have some GIFs, just let us know in advance. And then we get to the Q&A. So it's 3 to 5 minutes after your talk. The host will repeat the question. So before you answer, make sure that the host gets the opportunity to repeat the question. These are icons. You see how clean they can be when it's just all one color? So this is, again, something you're able to find in the WowerPoint recipe book. And that's the end. Any questions, please get in touch with us.